Boom, coming in on a Friday, Chinchy. First off, happy St. Patty's Day to all the Irish out. You got any Irish? Is there any Irish in the Chinchimino chain?
Yeah, my mother's mother, Maggie, her maiden name is O'Brien.
Okay.
Margaret O'Brien.
Let's go.
I'm about 25%. Little known fact, dude. St. Patrick was Italian. Did you know St. Patrick was Italian?
Come on, bro. Let's stop with that. Are you serious?
Google it. You want me to? I have it. I have it here.
Come on.
Hold on.
St. Patrick. No, it's not true.
It's funny you say that because somebody sent me something today, and it was people's reactions to finding out.
You Italians try to take everything from everybody. You know what I mean? You try to all the good food, all the good.
What does that say? When Irish people, what is it? Find out St. Patrick's was Italian.
Oh my gosh.
This is from somebody. This is the type of things I follow on Instagram. This is from somebody named Long Island Italian.
Okay, there you go. Dude, I tell you what though, St. Patty's Day as a big leaguer, dude, is one of the best days because we bring out the green hats. So St. Patty's Day, we bring out the green hats. Bernie Stowe, Rick Stowe, our clubbies, they get it out. Got the good old Irish in them, but we'd wear the green hats, and I think everybody loved this. So it was incredible.
Yeah, aren't you
Irish baseball, dude? And also my man John Fitzgerald and Sean Clancy. Don't sleep on the Irish, dude. We might be in the next WBC. Let's go. And I'm going to be trying to be the Mark DeRose of Ireland. Try to come in and be the manager. Hey, we'll see.
If you manage
some good Irish players out there.
Do you think you'd be a good third base coach?
Yeah, I do.
It's not an easy job.
No. It's nerve-wracking, dude. Being the third base coach is it's dicey.
You know what it's like? It's like being an offensive lineman who you don't hear anything about until they miss the block that gets the quarterback sacked. That's exactly the same thing. Larry Bowe was one of the best ever, right?
Larry Bowe is the best, and Larry Bowe, you have to kind of have that framework, like you don't give a crap either. You're at third base to make decisions.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you got to make that. It's a split second. You're basically the 10th player. Mm-hmm. You're another player if you're the third base coach. If you're the first base coach, you're like, hey man, get your signs. I got the clock on it. What the pitcher's going to home. Give me your batting gloves. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't get picked off and make me look like an idiot. If you're a third base coach, you're another player, dude. You're coming down the line. You're making reads. There's technique to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, being a third base coach is it's like I said, it's such an important piece of a good third base coach can win you games, and a bad one can lose you some games.
Yeah, that's a good one. And also, first base coaches, the batters, the guy who's running to first can see what's going on. When you're running around second and going to third, it's just a circle of trust between you and the third base coach because you're not looking. Because once you you lose a step.
Pick them up. Yeah, pick up the third base coach.
Yeah, third base coach breakdown on it. We didn't even know we were doing that. Hey, I don't want to call this a silver lining, but Edwin Diaz, we found out the insurance covers him. The WBC
torn patella tendon, right? Patella tendon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, since we were on yesterday. I mean,
gonna miss 8 months out for the year. I love Buck Showalter's reaction, bro. A couple things here. Buck Showalter was like, "Hey, listen, first off, we're worried about Edwin Diaz, the human being. Is he going to be okay? Looks like he's going to be okay. Okay, now let's look at the Mets. He goes back to last year. He's like, listen, at the end of the day, Taijuan Walker was hurt. DeGrom was hurt. Scherzer was hurt. I mean, missed substantial time. He went down this whole list of guys. It was like 10 dudes that were integral parts of the team. And he's like, and Verlander had a good quote too. And he said, hey, listen, this is the big leagues. This is such a grind. You have to sustain major injuries to one or two guys a year to get to win the World Series. You know what I mean? It's very tough sport where a lot of guys aren't going down throughout the year. It's a 27-man roster. You're using 35 to 40 guys a year with guys coming up, going down, pitchers going down. So, Diaz going down is a huge blow to the Mets, but they did sign Dave Robertson. Zach Britton is still out there. Ottavino, it has been a closer. They have guys that have closed ball games before. So they did a great job. Billy Epler and Stevie Cohen did a great job of depth. You want to win in the big leagues, you better have depth. And they have depth even before Edwin Diaz got hurt. So I'm glad he's going to be okay. That knee, it's not his shoulder or anything like that. He's going to come back. And I just love how the Mets are reacting. And they're also, like you said, Chinch, because of the insurance policy of the WBC, this is one of the things that allows teams to let their players go out and play, is they're off the hook. If these players get hurt at the WBC, it's not on the Mets and on all these teams. It's on the insurance of Major League Baseball. So Stevie Cohen, those guys that won't have to pay the $18.6 million to Edwin Diaz this year. The insurance will pay it. And that also opens up some money. I don't know how much more money they could spend, but Stevie Cohen's probably like 18.6. What can I do with that?
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about it before we came on. I mean, don't fret, Mets fans, because you have George Steinbrenner on roids here,
right?
In Steve Cohen. Right. You telling me if they're not exactly where they want to be at midseason, trade deadline time, and they need a closer, you don't think he's going out and getting a number? He won't care. He'll do it. He'll refurbish the team next year. He won't care about giving up prospects, I bet.
Yep.
No, we're winning the World Series this year. That's what you got. That's right. What Mets fans, be very excited about this owner, I think, personally.
Yeah. Well, and also some of his quotes, he said, hey, listen, when I'm all in, I'm all in. He goes, when I do something, I'm doing it all in. My chips are all in. And, you got to love that, man. George Steinbrenner is one of the greatest, owners ever. And the fact that we're talking about Stevie Cohen, hey, at the end of the day, he's spending the money and he's staying in the system. He's going over the tax. That's what the system is.
Yeah. You look at it, look at ownership in general. Like, you look what Jerry Jones does with Dallas. Now they've been fighting to win for years, but hey, they paid Dak. They paid Ezekiel Elliott. Guess what? They just cut Ezekiel Elliott. Like the big winners, the guys, if you own something, you own things, and whatever you own, you want it to be the best product that you own. You paid for it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And you have the right to first, what is that called? The right to first denial, whatever.
Refusal.
Anyway, right to first refusal of anybody that disagrees with you. I don't think that doesn't play in this case, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, sticking with the WBC, there's like a couple other things going on here. Have you seen his Japan? There's a player in Japan who's hitting bombs left and right. And
not named Ohtani?
Not named Ohtani. I'm forgetting his name, and I'm not going to say it because I'll probably screw it up anyway. But good points being made that they might be the team to beat right now.
Dude, and also, Yu Darvish is stepping it up too. They have having Ohtani and Darvish at the top of that rotation shoes. Another thing about them, Chinch, is that split finger. All the guys over in Japan have a split finger, right? Senga's talking about he was not throwing it as much right now because he already throws it a lot. He's working on some other pitches that he's doing here in the States, and he's been pitching well for the Mets. And I think if you haven't seen us, I know for me, I used to have a tough time against Hideo Nomo. He just was it was so nasty, dude. It would come in right down the middle. And you're like, wow, it almost like Mariano Rivera's cutter. You look at Rivera's cutter, you go, wow, that's a four-seamer. I can't believe he's throwing me a four-seamer. He must, not got the memo or something, And then it would cut on you at that last second. That's why he was so nasty. The reason Nomo was so good is the split finger was so devastating late. Ohtani threw a couple splits last night at 93 that were just leaving team in Italy. I mean, incredible. Almost like an elevator. I saw it was like an elevator shaft. Boom, bam, straight down, right? So, you talk about Japan maybe being, hey, that sleeper team that maybe one of the favorites. I think there's something about those guys. That split finger is such a big pitch over in Japan for a team like US and these Puerto Rico, Dominican. They play in the big leagues. That's not a big pitch. It's a big pitch over there in Japan. I think that is a X factor as far as a short series goes, a WBC, where you might see this team one time. If you face them a few times, okay, you start getting a beat on it visually. But if you're facing them one time and it's do or die, that split's a weapon.
Yeah. Why do you think it went away? Was it an analytics thing? Like, were people not swinging at it? Like, it was so nasty back in the day. Like, when you watched a pregame show, they'd be like, and you got to watch out for this guy's split finger.
Right. Why
do you think?
I think it's tough on the elbow, dude. I think it's a pitch that's tough on the elbow. You're spreading your fingers out so much, and you're throwing it like a fastball. And I just think there's something to be said about the torque it puts on your UCL. I really think that's a factor why it's kind of gone away.
Yeah, when I was a kid, this memory stuck in my head. This was like in the 80s, and I remember the Yankees were playing. I think he was on Texas at the time. But remember Doug Jones?
Yeah,
Jones, a pitcher.
Yeah,
he wanted to get his splitter better, so they showed this shot. It was just a still shot. He was taking a softball and putting it between his fingers. So he could basically destroy the what do you call those, the tendons or ligaments in here, so that his these two front fingers
could get in there.
Isn't that crazy? People do, man. What you guys do in sports.
Incredible. Like, you do whatever it takes. You got a short window, bro. You do whatever it takes for that window.
Yeah, remember Ronnie Lott cut a finger off to play.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. Come on.
Dude, when I had this,
I don't think I would.
When I had this finger, the mallet finger, I swear to God, I was thinking, Ronnie Lott cut it off and played a freaking game rest of his career. I was like, I got to get a hold of myself. And I'm like, well, I'm not in the NFL and I don't really care. I got to get my finger better. But you're in the NFL. Hey, Ronnie, you can go back into the game, or you can't play the NFC championship game, or you cut your finger. I was cut my finger off.
Cut it, coach. What is it? Cut me, Mick.
Cut me, Mick.
Wait, there was one. Oh, dude, there's this other story that you were locked in on. Oh, man. I remember years ago when we were talking about the pine tar with the pitchers and this and that. Now, this is kind of like, it's like we said 2.0. This is like 2.0 of that right now. What's going on? You're fired up about this topic. You want to walk us through what this one is?
Well, you know what? They're upping it. They're upping the ante again. I guess a letter went out to 30 of the teams, all 30 teams, to say this year the umpires are going to even enforce, looking for any substance on the pitcher's body. I guess last year they started following. There was an inning they would check them. So they might check them in the third or fourth, and the pitchers knew. So they start to think that some of the spin rate would go up in the innings that they didn't see, that they knew they weren't going to get checked. So I think that was one of it. And I think the other thing is Major League Baseball is doing a lot to try and get offense to come back in the game. Balls put in play, right? And so they put the pitch clock in to speed things up. They made the bases bigger to get more action. They took the shift away. You know what I mean? So they want more action. And I think the one thing you started to look at, the spin rate was so much higher right before they started addressing that and checking these pitchers, right, for pine tar or spider tack or whatever those guys were using, the Manimoto stick. And so I think what they found last year is that they could see it kind of going up on some starts and not on others. And I think they're just up in the ante because I think they're thinking to themselves, we're making all these changes in the game to get more balls in play. And if guys are still able to use this spider tack and all that stuff and kind of beat the system, it's going to defeat all the changes that they just made in the rules changes. So they're going to up the ante this year with checking pitchers. And they're now allowed, Chinch, to check your hand, to check your on your body, kind of going to another level. So that'll be interesting to see, what happens. It's funny, dude. I'm not going to mention names, but guys, when I was playing, were always looking to, pitchers were always looking to have that advantage, so I can only think they're still looking to have an advantage, even though, you could bend the rules a little bit, kind of get around them. But I remember a guy would use pine tar on his wherever, on his belt or his hat or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it started to become so noticeable. And then one day I'm out in BP, we're talking out in the outfield. He's like, Case, check this out. And he grabs it and he goes, touch my fingers. And I touch his fingers. Like, whoa, he was putting pomade on his neck.
What?
So it was clear. So he would take like pomade hair solution.
Oh my God.
Hair gel. And he would put it on his neck. And then with the sweat would hit it, it would make it so tacky, but you couldn't see it.
Oh, so that's like the guy from the old guy from Major League.
Major League. Yeah. Bardol, Vagisil. But remember,
whatever it takes.
Remember, so you'd almost have to touch his neck to see that it was something.
That's interesting. So. Well, that's what the other guys do. Hey, when Pedro had that really amazing Jerry curl going, you always saw him every once in a while doing this to his hair,
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. There's two different things. Like, there's cheating, there's like spitballs. That's cheating. But then there's a whole major argument that hitters are like, hey, man, as long as he can grip the ball, I'd rather him grip the ball than not grip the ball. You think that's all horse bongo?
Well, bro, listen, they have something to grip it. The rosin bag. It's been there for 100-some years.
If you get, by the way, Casey's face, he just got like mad at this thought. Like you just got mad at pitchers. You hate pitchers. All right, keep going. Go.
Well, dude, here's the deal. No, I don't hate pitchers, but here's the deal. You grab the rosin bag, saliva to the rosin, and a wipe. Dude, you could take a ball, and if you put it in there on your fingers, you could hold that ball up with the rosin. And the reason the spider tack is another level is because you can now grip that curveball. And if if I can get that torque and spin it just a little bit longer with that spider tack, holds on a little bit longer, I can really get the revolutions that I want. I'm a different pitcher. I mean, guys were talking a couple years ago. I mean, remember Charlie Blackmon saying, I've never seen anything like it. He goes, I'm swinging where I thought a slider used to be, and it's sliding twice. It's sliding. You know, some of the balls that were, to me, look like wiffle balls. These guys are already the best in the world. And I would always say sometimes when we'd face like a nasty pitcher, Clemens, somebody like, Pedro, Roy Halladay, and ump would be giving them, this much Maddux, this much off the bat. I go, hey, this guy doesn't need any help, bro. This guy's freaking the greatest in the world already. He doesn't need 2 inches off the plate. And that's the same thing I feel that most hitters would feel like, hey, man, these guys are the best in the world already. They are throwing 103 miles an hour now. They don't need to throw me a curveball that I've never seen before because the revolutions are incredible.
I got a conspiracy theory in my head right now. I blame analytics on this. Okay, and here's why.
Okay.
Back in your day, right? ERA, innings pitched, all that stuff. What are you getting paid for right now? What's his spin rate on his slider? What's his spin rate on his curveball? There are teams that I guarantee are taking a spin rate guy over a feel guy any day of the week these days. So, hey, you want to put some bucks in your pocket, you got to have the best spin rate. I need to get my spin rate up. That's what, probably a high school kid is saying right now. I don't know.
I agree. I think you're right on the money. And then, when you talk about spin rate, one of the nastiest pitches you can throw with spin rate is the 12-6 curveball. Because of this, if I have velo and I'm a guy that if I throw 95 to 98, which everyone does nowadays, and I can hit you in the top of the strike zone as a hitter, I get you in the top of the strike zone. I'm in there and I'm like, okay. And now I see velo that's at the top of the zone. Okay. My eyes tell me, okay, I got to get on top of that if the ump's going to call that. Now, if I can get the spin rate right with a 12-6 hook, I can let it stay up there. If it's spinning, it's going to stay up. It's going to come out and look like a fastball up. And if it can make those revolutions further down the way, my eyes visually tell me, oh my God, it's a fastball up. And right when I go to swing, no, it's not. It's a 12-6 curveball. And that is the tough part as a hitter. When you start talking about spin rate, spider tack, I think that 12-6 curveball that these guys are throwing and sliders are at another level, and visually it's just so much harder to detect.
Great one. Great point there. Okay, so here's a question for you. Was there ever a time where somebody threw a pitch where you turned to the ump and catcher and go, what? No. Seriously, has that ever happened to you? You've seen it in the league here and there, like, no, check him. Or
I never checked anybody, but facing Greg Maddux was like that. You're like, this guy has to be, he wasn't doing anything, but you thought he was because you just never seen a ball move the way it did. I never seen a right-hander throw me a pitch behind me or at least at my butt cheek. And I'm like, dear God, it's going to hit me. And then, bam, it would run like 3 feet, last second, strike three. You're like, that's incredible. Like, I remember when I first faced Maddux feeling like that, like looking at the umpire, like, really? Dude, one at bat. Oh, I got a great at bat.
Go.
Brad Lidge, bro. Brad Lidge. We've been talking about the split finger, the slider. Brad Lidge, when he first came in the league, obviously came up with the Astros, closed with the Phillies, had that perfect save season, 40 saves, and they won it in 2008, right? Bro, when he first came up, his slider acted like a split finger. It was like 93, 94 miles an hour change. It was incredible. So he could throw 98, 99 with a slider that was like 93, and it looked like a fastball, but it acted like a split. And I remember one time when Lidge first came out, Osmus was behind the dish, and I'm like, first pitch, throws me, dude, I thought it would look like a heater right there. Wham, I swing and miss. I'm like, whoa, that was incredible. So then boom, same pitch again, another slider, looks like a split finger, boom, swing and miss. Next pitch, 0-2 slider, swing and miss. I just looked at Osmus, I walked off and go, you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me with that? And he's like, he just started giggling. I'm like, that was unhittable. It was the one time, him and Rob Nen. I faced Rob Nen one time. Another great story. So Lidge, 1, 2, 3, Rob Nen in San Francisco. I'm coming off the bench. Jack McKinnon's like, hey, Case, you're going to face Nen. I was like, hey, thanks for the day off. It's worked out well for me. When Nen was just punching tickets like you wouldn't believe. So I come in, And they used to play that whenever the Giants would win, they'd play "Who Let the Dogs Out" right on the last out. So
right.
last out, "Who let the dogs out?" Who, and the place would go nuts in San Fran. So I get in there, I'm facing Ned, dude, and I am grinding, dude. He's throwing this slider that acts like a split. Like only certain guys could do this, right? Smoltz did it too. His slider looked like a split. It acted like a split. So I get there against Nen. I'm 0-2, bro. It's what a crazy. Nen, I swear to God, Nen pumps. He delivers, and right when he's right here, they start playing. Who let the dogs
No way.
Didn't even throw the pitch. And I'm kind of like, my mind goes, what the? And then it was a slider. I swung and missed by 10 feet. And like, I walk away, and the place is going, "Who let the dogs?" I was like, you can't play that in the middle of a. They just knew that he was going to punch me out.
That is a great story. That is a good one. Well done. Well done. Oh, man. He was nasty, huh, Rob, then?
So nasty, dude. Yeah. So especially in his prime, so nasty.
God, what's it like when you're batting second and the guy comes in, the Mariano? You see him coming in. Do you even look? Do you even watch him warm? Like, what do you try to get your time?
Yeah, man.
But you're like,
bro. God. The biggest thing when you're on deck and you're facing anybody, but when you're on deck, you got a shot, a little bit of timing. You're not on the plate, but I would suggest to every young kid out there, every hitter, hey, when you're on deck, I got 4 pitches. I could time them up. You know what I mean? So especially when you're facing a guy like that, a Rivera, a Nen, a Lidge, and these guys in their prime, Billy Wagner. Hey man, any edge I can get timing wise, I'm going to do it. I'm not in the box, but I am on deck. So anything you could do against those guys, bro, you're going to grind. You're probably not going to win, but you got to go in there and you got to be ready to. You're a big league ball player. You got to be ready to attack and play offense. Not defense. This is really quick. The last thing I want to say. I'm reading this book right now called "Victory Favors the Fearless" by Darren Donnelly. Guy's a great author, sports psychologist. And I was thinking of we were talking about fear. How like at the end of the day, the only way to attack fear is with action and preparation. You better be ready to go. You better be confident in your skill. You better have put in the work when you know that, okay, I got a fearful situation coming, but I'm prepared and I need to take action on it, right? And I always think about, we talk about the Buffalo story. The Buffalo's herd up, they run right for the storm, right? They take action on the fear. They're confident because they've done it. They're prepared and they run for the storm. And the cattle in that same situation, they see the storm and they run in the other direction, right? And I always say this, listen, you want to attack fear in your life because we all get it in so many different situations, right? You want to attack fear in your life. You gotta take action and play offense, not defense. Because if you don't, Chinch, fear will play offense and take action on you, right? So it's the reverse. So I love that, man. So when I faced a guy like Rivera and Nen and these guys, like I was prepared. I had put the swings in. I had lifted the weights. I mentally was ready. I before the game, I was prepared, right? So when I faced those guys, hey, is it a fearful situation? We got 50,000 here at Yankee Stadium going nuts. I got the best closer on the mound. Yeah, but I'm playing offense too. Like I'm not sitting back and I'm not running. I'm playing offense. I'm prepared. I'm taking action. Let's go. Here's my setup. Here's my game plan that I'm prepared. No, I might win or I might lose. The result doesn't matter, but I'm ready to go and the process is tight. I think that's a great thing with fear. Hey man, you got to play offense and take action. Because if you don't, fear will take action on you with an offensive mindset.
Whoa,
cheers going.
The spirit of St. Patrick's got you today, Sean. Holy Nikes, man. Way to bring it today, Case. You're late for a meeting, actually.
I got a meeting at noon, but the Irish, we've had to fight our whole life, Chichi. We've had to keep running, baby. We had to keep running.
Got through that potato famine, and look, here we are on a great podcast.
Hey, because of the potato famine, that's the only reason the Caseys are here. 2 Casey boys back in the day, teenagers decided we better start running and get the hell out of here because the potato famine's here. Let's go dominate in the States. That's why Sean Casey's here.
You're welcome, Cincinnati. So St. Patrick is responsible for Sean Casey being one of the best hitters in Cincinnati baseball history. All right, dude, get after it, man.
Happy St. Patty's Day to all the Irish out there and obviously the Italians. And anyone else out there that celebrates St. Patty's Day. Let's go. All right, Chinch. Love you, brother. Have a great weekend. Everyone out there, thanks for listening. Have an incredible weekend.